Okay, happy Monday, May 4th. It was great seeing a lot of you guys on Friday at the parade. So I'm glad I got to see some of you. I hope that you all come out to more parades that we end up planning to do. So, right now, let's take a look at what this week looks like. I have posted this already in Google Classroom, so you can take a look at and see what each day looks like. Just want to remind you that you have Zooms on only Tuesday and Wednesday this week. We're not going to have Zooms anymore on Thursday because Principal Felino wants that day to be more for work for you guys. So you're going to have a Tuesday Zoom at 11 and a Wednesday Zoom at 11. If I feel like we need it, we could add a Thursday Zoom, but I think most of you guys are getting a really good handle of it. So if you want to work ahead, please use this calendar. All we're going to do really this week is lesson 14.3 and 14.4, and then the unit is over. So that's great news. I'm counting the quick checks as our little quizzes, so we won't have a test at the end of this unit. We'll just have little quizzes that are counted. Okay, so let's start with lesson 14.3. So go ahead and get your book out, and you will be on lesson 14.3. Let me make sure it loads here for you guys. And here we go. We're on page 14.3, which is on page 789. And so today what we're going to try to do is we're going to use our graphs and our ordered pairs and our coordinate grid to solve real world problems by graphing points. And this does happen a lot. People in business, people in scientists, they use a lot of graphing. So we're going to start looking at this example on let's everybody get on to page 790 so we could start with this example. So let's use our ordered pairs to solve problems. Both Anne and Bill earned the amount shown this week. Anne started with no money, but Bill starts with $5. How much will Bill have when Anne has 30? Now you could sit there and map it and write it down, but the easiest way to do it is represent it with two things. You're going to represent it with a table and you're going to represent it with a graph. So let's take a look and see how that's written as a table. Okay, so we're going to make a table. Here's Anne and here's Bill, and this is where they start, right? Anne starts with 0, poor girl. Bill started with 5, right? And then in week 1, what happens? Well, let's read what happens. In week 1, Anne earns $3 and Bill earns $8. Then Anne in week 2 earns 6, Bill earns 11. Well, this is our ordered pair. Believe it or not, Anne is now X and Bill is Y. And usually he'll tell you, let X be Anne and Y be Bill. So you don't have to figure it out. When you get to higher order math, you'll have to figure it out. So this is our first point. Our first point is first ordered pair is 0, 5. And where did I get the 0 and the 5? Well, right here. Here's my 0 and there's my 5. So here's my first dot, 0, 5. And you could see it plotted there. Well, where's my next point? My next ordered pair is, remember, Anne is X, 3, 8. So I go over to 3. This is kind of hard to find. And then up 8. Pretty cool. Okay, the next one. What's our next one? Well, our next one is X is 6. Remember, Anne is $6 and Bill is 11. So I go to 6 and then 11. As you're noticing, that's a nice little straight line. Now notice Bill ends at 20. He doesn't end at 30, right? And we wanted to know how much money will Bill have when Anne has 30? And Anne ended at 15. So right now we're going to keep drawing this and maybe connect the dots and make it a straight line. And then we go here and we find when Anne has 30, we're going to keep going up to see, oh, when Anne has 30, it meets the line there, and that means Bill has 35. So that means that point is when Ann has 30, Bill will have 35. Okay? Not too bad, right? All right, let's go on to the next example. Okay. In the example 790, find another point on the line. What does it represent? Okay, well, we could go back and find another point on that line. So here we go. Let's find 20, right? So I'm going to take 20 and I go up right there. And then I go over 25. So when I go up to 20, I'm going to write that down here. 20. And then I'm going to go up and match it. And it's 25 here. So my y is 25. Well, what does that represent? When Ann has $20, guess what Bill has? 25. And that's that ordered pair. Okay, so that's number one on page 799. Okay, in the example on page 790, write an equation. Right now, we're not going to do that because we're going to write equations in the next unit. Okay, so let's look at number 3. Write the missing coordinates and tell what points it represents. Okay, so right away, we see that he's missing X and Y right here. Okay, well, I could write that. I know that X here is 5, right? Because my X is 5 and my Y is 200. So I'm going to write my 200 here, and that's my ordered pair right there. Okay, so what does it represent? Well, in order to determine that, you're going to have to look and see what does X and Y represent. Well, X tells me time, and Y tells me distance. So the whole thing tells me the jet car distance. Wow, jet car sounds pretty cool. So in 5 seconds, and you could see that says seconds. If I erase that right there, you could see that says seconds. So in 5 seconds, this car is going to go 200 meters. That's pretty fast. What is it going to go in 10 seconds? 400 meters. What is it going to go in 15 seconds? So we're going to follow that line, and we know how many meters it goes based on what X is and what Y is. So that's a pretty good example. Okay, let me do number 4 and 5 for you. I'll just do number 5 because this is, remember, you're doing page 791 and 2. I should change that because you're doing page 791 and 2, number 4 through 12. So I'm going to do number 5 for you so you could take a look at that. Okay, again, he's saying find the missing coordinates and tell what the point represents. So he's asking us to find what X is and what Y is. Okay, well, I could look at that, and I'm going to go down, and I see X is 200 there. And then I'm going to go across to see what Y is, and Y is about 150 there. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, how many I always look at the title, how many wildlife sightings there are. Well, let's take a look. Every time I see 200 deers, guess how many elk I see? 150. And that's where I get elk because that's my Y. And my deers are 200. Okay. If I even take a number like here, 500 and 450, that means every time I see 500 deers, that's a lot of counting, you're going to see 450 elks. That's my X and my Y. So I want you to take a look at that on page 791, and you're just going to work through this homework. It's not a lot of problems, but it's somewhat writing on it. So I really want you to make sure you extend the graph or draw a line through the points, like it says graph the points on the grid and then draw a line. So that just means like if your point was right here and right here, that means you just take out any straight edge and draw a line. Oh, I didn't do a good job drawing a line, but you guys, it's hard to do on the computer. At least you guys have paper. And then you would draw a line, right? And then you're going to look through the patterns and see how much you read after 6 hours. That's your time, right? Okay, and then start thinking about this question in number 10 and 11, 12, and we'll talk about it at Zoom on Tuesday. But that's what I want you to look at this week, okay? Any questions, you could post them below or just come to Zoom on Tuesday. Okay, guys, happy Monday.